Hello everyone, it's Yvonne here from the Aussie Goddess to do your weekly reading. Before I go any further, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting my channel. This week I released my new channel on life coaching and everybody's been so wonderful and I want to say thank you for that. If you're interested in checking it out or you're interested in life coaching, there is a video now that I've got on the Aussie Goddess channel with all the URLs underneath. Because of the response I've had, I can't take any further life coaching people, but if you're still interested in doing life coaching, I can put you on a list and contact you as soon as someone's finished a program. I've got so busy that I only have a little bit of time in between to do readings, and I want to be able to do them too. This reading is for the sign of Pisces. So Pisces, thank you for subscribing to my channel. We're going to use the Tarot of Dreams for your reading. And this will be for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Ascendant, and Venus. And for the cross watchers. Okay. Okay. Wow, okay, now it's very possible that I've got the deck in reverse, which I do. If I'd have just had the devil in reverse, I would have read in reverse, but I picked up the deck in reverse. So the devil card can represent, ego, addictions, being bound to something or feeling bound to something. It can be a very a card that sort of talks about things like codependency and narcissism, which really is an addiction. A lot of people don't sort of understand that codependency is like an addiction to a person. The devil card mostly talks about taking things to extreme. It's not just a normal way of doing things. So this can be overly toxic people, toxic relationships. It's all the extremes of things here. Okay, so some of you are either fixing an addiction, coming out of an addiction, finishing a cycle where you could have been working with toxic people, you could have been in a toxic relationship, but you're closing something out here, which is really good. Okay, so you could have been dealing with a Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. You could have also been closing out a marriage. You could be walking away from a karmic situation. Now, I know we say that all relationships are karmic, but this one in particular may have been toxic, karmic and toxic. And you could be walking away from that because you're sort of showing up as this newly single energy here. Beautiful. And you're having a brand new start. So some of you this week or so, in the next few weeks, may be leaving behind a very toxic person to put yourself back on track. Healing a toxic relationship or walking away from a toxic relationship can be very difficult because, as I said, it is an addiction. So you still, even if you know the person isn't good for you, even though you may know the relationship is really bad for you, the actual severing of ties with people is very, very difficult when you're caught up in that karmic cycle. There are lessons to learn, right? So we have the Knight of Wands coming through. So the Knight of Wands represents the fire signs, Leo, Sag, and Aries. The Knight of Wands is a very, very fiery person. He comes rushing in very, very quickly. He's got something to say or do, and he wants to do it in a very passionate way. But his energy is quickly burned out. He's not a stayer like the Knight of Pentacles. So this could have been a relationship that didn't last long. It could be something that you felt incredibly passionate about, but now you're feeling it's burned out very quickly, but something here is not standing the test of time. All right, and we have the Seven of Wands. Wow. Now this could be you or the other person here, don't forget, because we do flip-flop, but this here tells me that someone's been fighting or feels like they've been fighting the whole time. Fighting to be heard, fighting for the relationship, but more fighting to have perhaps their say in a relationship, fighting to get their own way in a relationship, but constantly fighting. When you've been in this sort of energy and you're, you know, all passionate, burns out very quickly, it can be absolutely exhausting. So sometimes when people walk away from these relationships, they feel very drained, no energy left whatsoever. All right, so we have the Emperor coming through here with the Hermit, right? Wow, okay. Both major arcanas here. There's this energy of taking your power back with the Emperor. The Emperor is all about understanding your position of power, understanding how powerful you are. The Hermit card, very much a card of going inside, of healing, of understanding, you know, what's happened, sort of coming to terms with things. But it is a card of really deep soul searching and healing. And again, sometimes when you come out of very toxic relationships, there is a period of time where either you've forgotten who you are, or you need to sort of revisit things a little bit and sort of have time to yourself so that you can gain understanding of what's happened. It may be that you're coming out with PTSD or, you know, some sort of shell shock if you've been in a situation like this, especially for a long period of time. Okay, so we have the Ace of Swords. This is really nice. This is a brand new start here. And look at this. We have the Empress. How very beautiful. All right, and then we have the Five of Wands. So this particular relationship, I feel that you had like believed or thought this was the right relationship for you. You may have been under the impression this person was the right person. They may have really worn a mask during this time, and you may not have seen their true colours. And this person turned out to be very controlling and perhaps quite abusive. But I feel like here, when I see the Emperor and Empress together, it's sort of this energy of feeling like you were in the right place. But now I see, you know, all the tension behind this. You may have even had a child to this person. But the truth is coming out here very, very clearly that this person really wanted to be in control of everything, wanted to manipulate and abuse, and it's probably been quite damaging for you over a long period of time. All right, the Wheel of Fortune's here, and I like the Wheel of Fortune over the Ace of Swords with the Knight of Swords here, with the Knight of Wands here. I feel that there's now the working to let something go. The universe is working with you to help you let go of this energy, to leave this behind. Wow, it's a really heavy reading here. But I feel too that there's a real strong energy of you having a greater understanding. You may have put in a lot of learning here to really understand how truly damaging a relationship can be. But there's a lot of healing here, a lot of turning things around, a lot of truth realizing, but also a lot of visiting what you've been through to fully understand it. Okay, so I have the Palace of Cups down here. What a beautiful card to have here. So what this tells me is that you're understanding that love conquers all, and love of self is something that we need to learn. We're not always taught by our families or our parents how to really love and respect ourselves. So sometimes when we find ourselves in these really toxic relationships, we find it very, very difficult to understand the love of self and be able to walk away for our own good. And I feel like here, this is what you're doing. You're understanding here how to love yourself. Some of you may have realized this relationship was toxic, you know, quite a long time before. I feel like some of you may have gone through counselors or healers here before you actually left, because I feel that there's this sort of energy of releasing before you actually got out. So you may have already been planning for that. It sort of reminds me a little bit of Sleeping with the Enemy with Julia Roberts, which I brought up with a reading once before, but how she prepared everything before she actually left, because she didn't want the person to follow her or know where she was. It's sort of got that little bit of that feeling here. So it could have been that a family member, a friend, or somebody you've been really close to may have helped you. You may have done some of your healing while still in the relationship to prepare you to leave. So the grief and loss hasn't been quite so harsh for you. But I do see you learning to self-love here, and I do see you fighting back. So we have a toxic situation here that you've closed out or you're about to close out. You could be dealing with a Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo person, possibly an earth sign. But I see you becoming newly single and having a brand new start here. This sort of energy is absolutely beautiful because I feel really strongly that some of you have actually sort of found your way out before it's ended. And sort of learned to, sometimes we have to go and set ourselves up, you know, have a new place to live, somewhere where if you've got children, where you can take your children somewhere safe, and prepared to do that whilst the person isn't there, because you don't really know how this person's going to respond when you go. And sometimes they play on your feelings and do the poor me and I love you and I don't want you to go. Well, of course, it's all an act. And if you stay, then you're going to just encounter the same again, which means we cycle. We cycle within the relationship, which is a pretty tough sort of thing too. All right, so I have here, yeah, beautiful, moving away. Very, very nice. All right, so on the Palace of Cups, I have the Six of Swords and the Strength card. So I see some of you, this is the preparing to go. So some of you already getting prepared here to leave a situation by building your own inner resources, building up your inner strengths. The good thing is, you know, for some of you, you will understand that there are things you'll need to learn now so you don't get into these situations again. Sometimes we think that it looks like all the other person's fault and we carry some of the, I guess, the energies of what has sort of put us in that position in the first place. So sometimes it's learning to temper our own energies, codependency. Some people call it codependency, some people call it people pleasing, and some people call it empathy. But anyway, whatever it is, it's about you opening your energies and putting other people's needs above yourself. But I see here you working with this energy and being able to come through the other side. So that's really beautiful. Pisces, what a heavy reading. Okay, I've had a few of them today. It's quite strange how sometimes that happens. I think people want love readings all the time, but unfortunately, we're all going through different cycles here, so there must be a lot of relationships at the moment coming into focus. I'm going to grab a second card. I'm going to read you some cards from the Heart and Soul Tarot here. Aren't they beautiful? Look at them. Okay, an angel surrounds you with rainbow wings, here to reconnect you with your true nature. The balanced, healthy, sensitive and loving you. Remember that then there is more to life than your achievements. Consciously connecting your spiritual and physical realities will help you reconnect to the sacred, infinite and creative part of yourself that is yearning to play a greater role in your life. That's about working with the 3D and the 5D, working with ego and spirit in a way that really benefits you. It's time to reflect on what really matters. Ultimately, this is love, peace and happiness, and you can only find these within yourself. When there is peace and love in your heart, there will be peace and love in your world, for all your experiences are simply your own reflection. And I think people don't understand this when they go looking for relationships because they feel that they need love or they want love. Relationships are there for you once you have learned the love you have for self. If you go looking for relationships before you have a really good love of self, you will put up with really poor behavior and you will put up with people treating you badly, because if you don't love yourself, you're certainly not going to see other people not loving you the way you need to be loved. So, you know, if you've come out of this sort of situation here, which has been very toxic, you know, please really learn this before you go looking for a new relationship, because very often if you don't, you'll just end up with the same person in a different face. You're vibrating very low when you walk away from these situations. So it's about working on your own vibration to bring yourself up to a place where somebody can love you unconditionally. But very often, once you've been in these situations and you've been dragged down, your vibration's very low. So you tend to pull in someone again who's vibrating around the same level. So if it's toxic and you've left it, make sure you give yourself time to heal, and make sure that you give yourself the lessons, or understand the lessons that these relationships bring you. Have a great week.